Imagine a small, quiet town where everyone knows each other, a place so safe that people don't even bother locking their doors at night. This was Beason, Illinois, a tiny community of about 200 people. But in 2009, something horrible happened that changed everything. Let's get to know the Gee family. Raymond Rick Gee was born in 1963. In 1997, he married Ruth Constant in Beason. They became a big, happy, blended family. Rick had 3 kids from before. Nicole was the oldest. Ruth had 2 children, Justina and Dylan. Justina was only 4 and Dylan was just 2 when their mom married Rick. Together, Rick and Ruth had more children. They had a son named Austin in 1998. Later, they had a daughter named Jessica, but sadly, she had brain problems and had to live in special care. In 2006, they had another little girl named Tabitha. As time went on, Rick's older kids grew up. Nicole got married to a man named Christopher Harris. They had a daughter in the late 1990s. Nicole and Chris had some ups and downs in their relationship. They even got divorced at one point, but got back together and had a son in 2009. The Gees seemed like a normal, happy family. Rick had just started his own construction company. Ruth stayed home to take care of the kids. Justina was 16 and starting high school. Dylan, 14, loved wrestling for his school team. Austin was 11 and crazy about sports. Little Tabitha was just 3 years old. On September 21st, 2009, everything changed. When Rick didn't show up for work, his stepfather went to check on the family. Upon discovering the horrific scene, he immediately called 911. Police and ambulances rushed to the house. What they found inside was like a horrible nightmare. The peaceful home had turned into a scene of unbelievable violence. 5 bodies were found, brutally beaten to death. Rick, 46 years old. Ruth, 39 years old. Justina, 16 years old. Dylan, 14 years old. Austin, 11 years old. But then, a tiny bit of hope. 3-year-old Tabitha was found alive. She was badly hurt with a cracked skull and a broken arm. They quickly flew her by helicopter to a hospital in Peoria, Illinois. People in Beason were terrified. Who would want to hurt the Gees? They weren't rich. They didn't have any enemies that anyone knew about. The police told everyone to keep their doors locked. In a town where no one used to worry, now everyone was scared it could happen to them. The police found blood everywhere, on the floors, walls, even the ceiling. They also found a bloody handprint in the bathroom. Outside, they saw a fresh shoe print in the dirt. As the police investigated, people in town started sharing what they knew. Some neighbors said they saw a gray pickup truck with unusual exhaust pipes at the Gee house early on September 21st. A big break came at the hospital where little Tabitha was being treated. Christopher Harris, Nicole's husband and Rick's son-in-law, came to visit Tabitha. A police officer noticed Chris's shoes looked a lot like the print they found at the crime scene. The police brought Chris in for questioning. They took prints of his shoes and hands. When the results came back, the handprint from the bathroom matched Chris Harris. On October 1st, 2009, Christopher Harris was arrested. He was 30 years old and charged with 5 murders, attempted murder, and other crimes. Soon after, more people were arrested. Jason Harris, Chris's brother, Jennifer Ernest, Jason's girlfriend, Sarah Duncan, Jennifer's mother. At first, they were charged with hiding evidence and lying to the police. But the next day, Jason Harris was also charged with murder and attempted murder. The Harris brothers faced over 50 charges, including murder, attempted murder, breaking into a home, robbery, and SA. One of the brothers decided to confess in exchange for a lighter sentence. Jason Harris agreed to testify against his brother Chris. Here's what Jason said happened that night. Jason and Chris had been out drinking, smoking weed, and doing cocaine. After failing to hook up with some girls, they decided to go to the Gee house. Christopher allegedly wanted to talk to, or possibly have a sexual encounter, with 16-year-old Justina Constant, his former sister-in-law. When they arrived at the house, it was around 1 a.m. Chris grabbed a tire iron and went into the house. Jason stayed in the truck. He heard loud thumps and screaming from inside. At some point, 14-year-old Dylan Constant jumped out of a bedroom window. He then made his way to the front door and re-entered the house. A few moments later, Dylan ran out again, bleeding badly, with Chris chasing him. Jason watched Chris hit Dylan 5 or 6 times with the tire iron. Christopher then returned to the house. Surprisingly, Dylan managed to get up and go back inside the house, trying to save his family. The level of violence inside the house was extreme. Rick Gee, 46, was found face down on the living room floor. He had been hit in the head at least 13 times. Blood was pooled around him and splattered on the ceiling, floors, and walls. Ruth Gee, 39, was discovered in the couple's bedroom. She had been struck 13 times with such force that her skull collapsed over her right eye. Dylan Constant, 14, was found in the doorway of a bedroom. He had been hit more than 30 times. Austin Gee, 11, was discovered in the bathroom. He had been struck 8 times, with both sides of his skull caved in. Justina Constant, 16, was found flung on her bed, her head hanging over the edge. Tabitha Gee, 3, was found on her bedroom floor. She had been struck twice in the head, with her right ear skin peeled back from the force of the blow. In total, the family members were struck 158 times with the tire iron. After the brutal assault, Christopher returned to the truck where Jason was waiting. As they drove away, Christopher threw his shoes and the tire iron out of the window. Christopher also stole a laptop computer from the house because he was worried there was a camera on it. This could have revealed who committed the murders. Christopher allegedly told Jason that he had killed the entire family because he didn't want to leave any witnesses. When police arrived, they found blood everywhere. On the floors, walls, and ceilings. They discovered a bloody handprint on the bathroom vanity and a shoe print outside the house, both of which would later be linked to Christopher Harris. Miraculously, 3-year-old Tabitha was found alive but severely injured. She was quickly airlifted to a hospital in Peoria, Illinois. The police searched Jason's house, where Chris had been staying since divorcing Nicole. They found the missing computer from the Gee house hidden in Jason's truck. They also found Chris's shoes and tire iron where Jason said they'd thrown them out. DNA evidence also linked Chris Harris to the crime scene. In 2013, Christopher Harris went on trial. His lawyers tried to say he acted in self-defense. They claimed Chris walked into the Gee house around 1 a.m. and found 14-year-old Dylan killing his family. They said Chris had no choice but to fight back and ended up killing Dylan. To support this story, they brought in an expert who said Dylan had behavioral problems and low intelligence. They even pointed out violent video games in Dylan's room, but the story didn't add up. Dylan's teacher said he wasn't violent at all. He sometimes got in trouble for not doing homework, but that was it. In the end, the jury didn't believe Chris's story. The evidence was too strong against him. On May 31st, 2013, Christopher Harris was found guilty of all charges. On July 19th, 2013, it was time for Chris Harris to be sentenced. 7-year-old Tabitha Gee wrote a heartbreaking statement. "I am 7 years old, and it still breaks my heart. I wish you were dead, and my brothers and sisters, as well as my mother and father, were alive." Christopher Harris was given 5 life sentences in prison, plus 80 more years for attempted murder, robbery, and breaking into the house. He will never get out of prison. Jason Harris got 20 years in prison for his part in the crime and for lying to police. Jennifer Ernest got 2 years of probation, 4 months in jail, a $1,000 fine, and 100 hours of community service for hiding evidence. Sarah Duncan got 2 years of probation and a $2,500 fine for lying to the police. The town of Beason is trying to heal from this terrible event. In 2014, they burned down the Gee house with permission from the state. It was a way to try and move on from the tragedy. The town built a new playground to remember the Gee children. It's called the Gee Constant Memorial Playground. Tabitha Gee, the only survivor, now lives with her grandmother. She's working hard to overcome the horrible thing that happened to her family and nearly killed her. Nicole Gee, who was once married to the killer Christopher Harris, later got divorced again and remarried. Sadly, she lost custody of her children after being charged with drug crimes and child neglect. We may never know exactly why Christopher and Jason Harris went to the Gee house that night. It's hard to understand how anyone could do such a terrible thing to people they knew, especially to a little 3-year-old girl. This story shows that even in small, safe towns, horrible things can happen. Both Christopher and Jason Harris are responsible for this awful crime. Chris did the killing, but Jason could have stopped it, or at least told the police right away. Instead, he helped cover it up. In the end, justice was served. Christopher Harris will spend the rest of his life in prison, and Jason Harris got a long sentence too. But nothing can bring back the Gee family or heal the pain their loved ones still feel. This tragedy changed the town of Beason forever. It's a reminder that we should always look out for each other and never take our safety for granted.